Have you ever wished for a game where you could play as the chipper newcomer in a cozy little town with romanceable NPCs, magic in the air, and simulated labor? Then oh boy do I have the game for you! Oh, but not that one. No, not that one either. Okay, seriously, it's in the title for f***'s sake. Sunhaven! You arrive as a new farmer in Sunhaven, a human town afflicted by a great darkness. By order of Elios the Sun Dragon, you must travel to the elven village of Nilvari and the demonic city of Withergate to investigate and resolve the conflicts between their inhabitants to establish peace across the lands. Like many a farming sim that's come before it, Sunhaven is a fantasy farming RPG where you can grow crops, raise livestock, craft items, mine ores, fight enemies, catch fish, cook recipes, decorate your farm, complete quests, fall in love, and explore, all wrapped up in a lovely pixelated art style. The game offers both single and multiplayer modes with up to 8 players and maintains any personal progress you make in skill levels and quests for your character across saves. I dropped nearly 50 hours into this game in under a month, despite only playing sporadically at night when my friends and I got the chance to, and I've completed the finale and epilogue quests, so I have a good idea about what the full game encompasses. And please note, I will occasionally compare it to Stardew since it's a similar game that I enjoy and that many people can use as a frame of reference. I'll do my best to avoid specific spoilers in this review, but I will talk briefly about the game's conclusion that you can probably already guess based on the premise. But let's start with what I liked about Sunhaven. The first step of the game is character creation, and Sunhaven's is quite extensive. There are 7 playable races to choose from, and each comes with their own unique racial abilities and traits, like Naga with their increased fishing skills and snake-like lower body. The race you choose has no effect on the story of the game, though I wish it was incorporated in some way, even if it's as simple as special dialogue between you and an NPC of the same species, but I get to play as a pretty angel, so who really cares? It is kind of weird to me though that you can just change your species on a whim. If you repair the salon in Sunhaven, you can waltz in and literally start the character creation process all over again for no cost, which I suppose is an overall plus, but just felt a bit strange to me. I would have loved to see species-specific quests if you wanted to change your character race, like seeking out an elemental for their help in your transformation, so it's more of a significant journey rather than just a quick stop by the salon. Race aside, you can choose from 10 professions, ranging from a farmer to even being royalty in your last life. Professions mostly just give you different starting items and gold, but some give you bonus stats or unlock certain craftables that would otherwise be unavailable in the early game. Lastly, you can customize your appearance with a wide range of options for skin tone, hairstyle, clothing, and much more, as well as any special traits depending on the race you chose. And none of this is gender locked, so you can customize to your heart's content. Beyond that, you can customize your clothing, decorate your farm and home, and collect unique mounts and pets through stores that exist in each of the 3 areas of the game. The inventory rotates daily, so if you're like me and must have the pretty things, be sure to build some time into your day to visit them all. And speaking of time, you can even customize the length of your in-game days depending on how much time you'd like to spend playing in real life. I plan 40-minute days as I wanted to grind out the main quest without going too quickly through the seasons, but you can make the days as short as 15 IRL minutes if you'd like. Another thing I loved about this game was a real sense of personal progression beyond the seasons and main quest. Sunhaven has extensive skill trees for exploration, farming, mining, combat, and fishing that cap out at level 70 and don't lock behind you, which I find to be pretty rare in games with this mechanic. While the level cap doesn't give you all the skill points necessary to max out each tree, you can use the community tokens you earn from quests to buy the additional skill points needed to do so from Bernard in the town hall. Like most skill trees, you're able to divvy your points into abilities that suit your playstyle. For example, I chose the spellcaster profession when creating my character, so when I leveled my combat tree, I focused mainly on skills that buffed my mana and spell damage rather than anything that improved my melee attacks, defense, or health. You can also track your progression in these trees easily, as there are progress bars that appear in the bottom right corner whenever you gain experience, and a lot of these skills will be genuinely helpful in your playthrough. My personal favorite are the spells, particularly Chain Lightning for dealing with groups of enemies, Rain Cloud for watering your crops, and Vicumulus for mining. Certain skills also apply globally in multiplayer, so if one person has a point in it, then everyone gains that benefit individually. There's even a skill that allows you to be pen pals with Sunhaven townspeople, which gives you some extra lore to better flesh out some NPCs. Speaking of NPCs, I really love the ones in this game. There are plenty of characters you can meet, interact with, and complete quests for outside of those who are featured in the main story, though the romanceable candidates do kind of take the spotlight. Romanceable NPCs get dialogue portraits and seasonal outfit changes for both their portraits and their sprites, which I think is such a lovely detail and adds to the immersion of the game. I just wish non-romanceable NPCs had portraits too, even if they didn't get all the seasonal outfits as well. I understand that the current state of portraits helps to more easily identify who's romanceable, but it leaves me wanting more. I get that they're meant to be background characters, but their sprite designs are so unique and well done that I'd love to see them in more detail, especially since their presence in the game makes the towns feel more lived in and real. And boy oh boy do I love the designs of the towns. It's incredible that we get 3 entire areas to discover, each feeling distinct from the others and complete with its own set of NPCs, currency, mobs, resources, and explorable areas. Sunhaven is definitely the most fleshed out in terms of NPC NPCs and breadth, but the vibes of Nelvari and Withergate give them both such character that it makes up for what they might be lacking in depth. However, each area comes with an entirely new farm for you to manage, and it isn't some late game reward once you're rich and settled. Even when playing with two of my friends, there were often times where we'd neglect our Nelvari and Withergate farms by accident because we were pursuing other quests in Sunhaven. I am personally cursed with executive dysfunction, and I couldn't imagine how difficult it could be to manage your time and money as a single player between 3 farms, especially if you're lower leveled. Even with fast travel options and playing on 40-minute days, I feel as though it'd be challenging to accomplish all your tasks in each area on a daily basis, and would take away from a more relaxing grind experience, if that makes sense. And remember when I mentioned that each area has its own currency and resources? It's both a blessing and a curse. Mostly a curse, actually. Yes, it helps to make the towns feel different from one another and opens the opportunity for more expansive crafting systems, but it feels really bad spending so much time amassing resources in one area only to not be able to use any of it in any of the others. And please don't get me started on the crafting system. The idea of unlocking new resources for new items when you explore a new area is nothing new, and certainly something I enjoy when executed well, but Sunhaven didn't do that. Each area gives you their own version of basic resources like wood, stone, and ores, and requires you to make new crafting tables to use them. And I know you may be thinking, Umi, that doesn't seem so bad. And you're right, it wouldn't be so bad if they didn't have at least 8 other workbenches that you have to make using the base crafting table to then be able to craft everything they have to offer. Why do we need 3 different crafting tables and 3 different furnaces and 3 different anvils? Sorry. Sorry that I forgot to mention the 3 different looms and 3 different seed makers, and I just don't see why they wouldn't let you use the new materials you get from Nelvari and Withergate to upgrade your existing equipment from Sunhaven. It feels more like they just needed to fill game time with superfluous resource grinding so they wouldn't have to buff up their narrative, which I'll get to later, and overall just lowers the quality of life for the player. While this game does make some good quality of life changes compared to my experience with Stardew Valley, like NPCs appearing on maps or showing the range of scarecrows, it also takes some steps back. Sunhaven has a museum that kind of acts as a combination of Stardew Valley's museum and its community center. As of this video being posted, there's no way to check what you have and what you need in the museum unless you physically go there or reference a third-party guide. And because this museum is so extensive with 3 different rooms full of their own individual bundles, this can be very frustrating and time-wasting. I also feel like I wasted a lot of time in the Sunhaven mines. You progress by finding rusty keys hidden in rocks or dropped by mobs that unlock the gate leading to the next floor. But to keep these gates open permanently, you must use keys crafted with increasingly rare ores, starting from bronze keys and ending with sunite ones. I think the mechanic itself is okay, but losing your mining progress for the day because you have to progress to get the ores, then backtrack to make the keys is frustrating. I think it'd be nice if they made it so reaching the chest floors permanently unlocked the floors before it. Nelvari and Withergate mines don't have this issue, but instead implement a sort of pay-to-win mining experience, which is a whole nother deal. In Nelvari, you have to give your choice of an adamant, mithril, or sunite key to unlock the mine, which is a singular floor that's type is randomized daily, with the more valuable keys simply increasing the size of the mine that day. Once you leave, you have to give another key to re-enter. Withergate's mines are the same, but themed around a subway where you can buy increasingly valuable tickets to ride to a larger mine floor, and you must buy a ticket every single time. This just feels like another time/resource sink that adds padding to playtime and tries to give players a reason to grind for more resources to be able to access these mines, which I personally haven't felt a need to do thus far. And then there's the multiplayer. Playing with friends is always a good time, and despite my gripes, I did genuinely enjoy playing Sunhaven with them. Unfortunately, there were some seemingly unfixable bugs that made their experience a little less fun as non-hosting players. One of my friends was romancing Claude but couldn't marry him despite meeting all the requirements to do so. Another friend couldn't join any of the special calendar events because he was somehow bugged to be a day behind us, which caused the NPCs who triggered the events to not show up for him, which meant he couldn't attend or get any cool items from it. And finally, the narrative. The storyline kept me engaged enough to play it the whole way through, and despite the main quests being fairly repetitive in terms of gameplay, it was an overall enjoyable experience that I'd recommend to anyone who enjoyed Stardew Valley. Comparatively though, the writing feels weaker. There's a great amount of dialogue for most NPCs, but it felt a bit shallow, even though it's not the kind of game that I expect the most emotional depth out of. Beyond that, the main quest builds itself up only to be quite the letdown, in my opinion. It is interesting to take part in the navigation of diplomacy between Sunhaven, Nelvari, and Withergate, but as the delegate of Sunhaven, in essence, you basically just run back and forth doing fetch quests until everyone is happy, and then they agree to be friends. The overarching conflict is presented as this age-old struggle that's existed since forever, and requires you to not only convince the townspeople of each area to reconcile, but also these powerful ancient dragons, and once you finish your final fetch quests, that's kinda just it. You talk with the last dragon and get a cutscene back in Sunhaven, and then nothing. No credits, and until very recently, no post-game content. And even when the conflict is resolved, it doesn't feel impactful whatsoever because NPCs from Nilvari and Withergate already hang out at Sunhaven events even if you haven't completed the main quest. Like one second, Prince Darius will be in Withergate huffing about how humans are the inferior, lowest class, and then you find him just chillin' at the Lantern Festival in Sunhaven for no reason at all. And since that's the first festival of the first season, most players haven't even gotten to Withergate at this point in the story, so it makes even less sense to have him there. I think part of the reason behind this narrative letdown is the fact that they released what seems to be an unfinished game. Sunhaven was in early access starting back in 2021 and released fully on March 11th, 2023, but didn't have its epilogue quests until a patch on the 21st. There's many a Steam review and Reddit thread that note how unpolished and quite frankly unfinished the game feels, and I can't help but agree. Despite this, I really did enjoy playing Sunhaven. Although it does get compared to Stardew Valley as a farming sim, this game definitely leans more into the magical and RPG aspects. There's a greater focus on combat and much less on farming in my opinion, as I barely did more farming than I needed to, and it made for a playthrough that felt distinct from other games within the genre. Yes, I have my grievances with Sunhaven, but I constantly wanted to log on. I loved the amount of customization that was available and the sense of progression. The NPCs were delightful, if a bit shallow in some ways, and having 3 areas to explore was fun, if a bit hard to manage. The quality of life and narrative issues did detract from my enjoyment slightly, but hey, I dropped 50 hours on it anyway. 3 out of 5 stars. Would recommend, don't know if I'd play again.